Twins in the 11th, and the ball, after ripped down the left field line, clearly fair there. Phil Cuzzi, though, emphatic in his call that the ball was foul, and so instead of a leadoff double, Meyer would single and eventually get to third with nobody out. But again, consecutive singles behind him.
After watching Phil Cuzzi blow this call that may have cost the Twins that second playoff game against the Yankees, I asked myself, if I were a Yankees manager, what would be the fair market value I would have to pay Mr. Cuzzi to blow a call like this that helps the Yankees? So I went through the analysis. Now, at the start of the inning, no one on base for either side, no outs. Assume that either team has a 50-50 chance of winning. Now, that's not perfectly accurate because obviously the Yankees are a little bit better hitting and they have a small advantage going second. But let's just call it 50-50 for now. What are the odds of the Twins winning the game if they have a man on second with no outs? If you use the book, which is considered one of the best references in baseball by Tango, Lickman, and Dolphin, the odds of the Twins winning go up to 63% with a man on second and no outs. Now, some of you may say, well, the Twins got 3 guys on base and they still couldn't score. The Yankees, probably would have won the game anyway. But that's not really the issue. The issue is, what is the fair cost of negating a double, turning a double into nothing? Now, what is the difference between the Yankees being up 2-0 or 1-1 in a 5-game playoff series? Well, again, I'm going to simplify things. I'm going to assume the Yankees and the Twins are equal teams, even though the Yankees are more likely to win a given game. I'm also going to ignore home field advantage, even though the next two of the next 3 games are at Minnesota. Now, if the Twins are down 2-0, they have to win 3 consecutive games. If the odds of them winning each consecutive game is 50%, then they have a 1 in 8 chance of winning the series if they're down 2-0. If, on the other hand, the series is tied at 1 game apiece, then it's just whoever wins the next 2 out of 3, and that's a 50-50 coin flip. So losing Game 2 meant that the Twins now have a 1 in 8 chance of winning the series instead of a 1 in 2. So the odds of them winning the series drop from 50 to 12.5%. So if the game were played as it should have been, and the Twins had a 63% chance of winning, if they win there, it's a 50-50 coin flip for the rest of the series. They have a 37% chance of losing, then they have a 1 in 8 chance of winning the series. So it went from that state to being a 50-50 chance of winning this game. If they win, obviously it's a 50-50 for the series versus 1 in 8. So the net effect, if you multiply these numbers out, is that it lowered the odds of the Twins winning the series from 36.125% to 31.125%, or basically a 5% reduction in the odds of the Twins winning this series. Now, how much money is it worth to win this series? Well, I'm going to make some more dubious assumptions. If you look at the total amount of money that Major League Baseball teams spend on salaries, in the last year, in 2009, Major League teams spent $2.68 billion. That is $2,686 million. If you're going to divide this, let's say that this money is what's being spent with the objective to win the World Series. At this point, this pot has been divided into 8 teams, and 8 teams surviving into the playoffs. That means each person is basically now has equity of $335 million going into the playoffs. And now, if you look at this as a head-to-head contest, the Yankees and the Twins each have $335 million of, call it, playoff equity that they're gambling against each other, like a heads-up poker tournament. So at this point, before the first game is played, if the World Series is worth $2.7 billion, each of these 2 teams has $335 million in equity. Now, obviously, the Twins have less than that once they lose, but if it's a winner-take-all shootout, then the winner is going to get both pots. They're going to get $670 million, loser gets none. Now, if you just increased your chances of winning that pot by 5%, so then basically the value of that one mistake is 5% of $670 million. So in this case, the fair market value for fixing that call is $33 million. Now, my question to the Yankees is, did you pay less than that for this fix? And if you did, your management did a good job, you got a good value.